It pronouns all devotees here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sumi from Jersey City.
Hare Krishna, Sumi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Guru Maharaj. So, thank you, Mataji. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your various services in Bhakti Sangha, and welcome, Mataji, for today's call. Mataji, it's 11. Prabhuji is not yet here.
No, I'll start record just. Okay.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha mid-morning session. Today we are continuing our classes on Chaitanya Bhagavat. We'll go ahead and read Srila Prabhupada's quote for today. Okay, 17th February. A girl is married to a husband. She's hankering after a child. If she thinks, now I'm married, I must have immediately a child, is it possible? Just have patience. Become a faithful wife, serve your husband, let your love grow up, and because you are husband and wife, it is sure you'll have children. But don't be impatient. Similarly, when you are in Krishna consciousness, your perfection is guaranteed. But have patience, determination. I must execute. I should not be impatient. That impatience is due to loss of determination. And how that loss of determination is there? Due to excessive sex life. This was instructed by His Divine Grace at Los Angeles on February 17th, 1969. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Achintya Gopesh Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving your precious time and being here and continuing our classes on Chaitanya Bhagavat, giving your class today. So Chaitanya, today Prabhuji will be talking on Chaitanya Bhagavata Madhya khanda 21st chapter, verses 30 to 40. So please take over, Prabhuji. Eagerly waiting.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mataji. Wonderful. Very nice, wonderful quote of Srila Prabhupada and very wonderful session here. Thank you very much for this opportunity. We will start with offering prayers. Om Ajnanatimirānandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Desha Tarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Jayatam Surator Pango Mamandavatir Gati Mat Sarvasvabadam Bojo Radha Madanam. Hare Krishna. So we are today reading from Chaitanya Bhagavata Madhya khanda, 21st chapter, text numbers 30 to 40. So we'll put up the text and we will read and then we will start our discussion. You are able to see the text?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Text 30. Ekadina Thakura Pandita Sangya Kari Nagara Brahmaye Vishwambara Gaurahari. One day Lord Vishwambara was wandering in the city along with Srivas Pandit. Text 31. Nagarera Antayache Madhya Peragara Yaite Bailaganda Prabhu Vishwambara. As Lord Vishwambara was passing by a tavern at the edge of the town, he smelled the wine. Madhya khanda runira haila smarana Balarama bhava haila sachira nandana. On smelling the wine, the son of Sachi remembered Varuni and assumed the mood of Balram. Lord Gaurasundara is the original personality of Godhead. Therefore, the pastimes of his first expansions are included in him. Sri Baldev Prabhu, who is under the shelter of Sambhoga Rasa, the mellows of enjoyment, becomes intoxicated by drinking Varuni. Remembering this, Lord Gaurasundara became absorbed in the mood of Baladeva and forgot the pastimes of the external world. So, we will discuss the three verses before going ahead. In this chapter, we are going to see the interaction between Lord Gaurasundar and his chastisement of Devanand Pandit. But as we know, and as you would have discussed, this chapter is going to enlist a very important, three very important principles, which are going to be shown in this chapter. Can somebody remember and tell me what are the important things that are illustrated in this chapter and in these pastimes? What are the important principles that Lord Gaurasundar is going to illustrate? Can anybody tell me?
Glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, that is definitely there. Very correct. What else?
Glorification without the impersonal aspect and glorifying it with love of God.
Yes, as against the impersonal aspect, glorifying the love of God and the supremacy of that. That is very correct. Anything else? So the other principle, these are two important principles we already stated. The other principle Lord Gaurasundar is going to demonstrate here is the non-difference between him and his pure devotee. In fact, this entire chapter is going to show the non-difference between him, his devotee, devotion, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Guru. In fact, in Bhakti Mal, if you there's this usual, there's a very famous saying, right? Bhakti Bhakta Bhagavanta Guru Chaturnaam Vapu Ek Tinike Vandan Kare Nachat Vigna Anek. So in this, there is this book called Bhakti Mal, which is not, generally in India, people read it as the histories of many devotees. It says that Bhakti, Bhakta, Bhagavant, and Guru, that is devotion, devotee, the Lord, and Guru. These are, while they have four different names, they are the same in essence. And whoever takes shelter of them, all your obstacles in devotion are destroyed. So this chapter and this pastime is going to illustrate various features. Obviously, the first three verses illustrate that Krishna is not different from Balram. Of course, Balram is not different from, he is the original Guru Tattva. He is the original Guru, the Adi Guru. And also, going ahead, you will see that how he is bound by the desire of his devotee and how he does not act differentially from his devotee. So he and his devotee are in desire one and the same. And as these pastimes unfold further, you will see in his discussions with Devanand Pandit how Srimad Bhagavatam is also non-different from him, and how a pure devotee is non-different, and how devotional service can only be approached by a guru or by the mercy of a pure devotee. So this entire thing of the non-difference between guru devotion or the text of devotion Bhagavatam and the Lord is going to be shown, and devotion service in itself. We have multiple times discussed this in our past sessions, where we have given this example that in Goloka, if you see, if the question is asked, according to whose desires the pastimes happen, right? We have discussed this question very often, right? By whose is Krishna's desire? Is it Radharani's desire? Is it desire of the other Sakhis? Is it desire of Yoga Maya? What is the answer to the question? Whose desires are the pastimes happening in the spiritual world? What is the answer?
Srimati Radharani.
Radharani, yeah.
Radharani, yes. And
With
it's
the
not a
help,
wrong.
with the help of Yog Maya, though. Yog Maya arranges those.
Yoga Maya arranges, correct? Yoga Maya arranges desire of Radharani. In fact, none of this are wrong answer. They are the correct answers. But the real answer is that is one thing that is inconceivable. That is Achintya. It is Krishna's desire, but Krishna always desires what Srimati Radharani wants. And Srimati Radharani always desires the benefit of all the other souls, all the other Sakhis, all the other conditioned souls to come towards Krishna. So her desire is really embedded in how to fulfill the desires of the other conditioned souls. And all of them are fulfilled by Yoga Maya, who independently conducts the entire pastime. Sometimes she even stops Krishna and Radharani from meeting, but that is ultimately according to the desires of Krishna and Radharani. So who is conducting the pastime is something that is not answerable, because these desires are not separate. They are actually in desire one. Right? Everybody is trying to please Krishna, and Krishna is trying to please the devotees. So similarly, because a pure devotee is one in desire with Krishna, and Guru is one in desire with Krishna, and devotional service is about the interactions between pure devotees and Krishna, and that in itself is same as Krishna's pastimes. These four are not different entities. So here, what we are seeing is the first manifestation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is walking in Navdeep, in Mayapur, and and when he is coming to the edge of the town, there is a wine, bar kind of a place. And when the smell of the wine, he starts getting into the mood of Lord Balram. You know that Lord Balram, his favorite drink is Varuni. Varuni is not the wine of this material world. Of course, Varuni is pure honey, which is drunk by Lord Balram. And the effect, of course, the effect is intoxication, but it's not the intoxication of this world. The wine in this world induces intoxication by tamoguna, right? And it covers the senses. Whereas Varuni is a transcendental, beyond even mode of goodness. It transcendently, intoxicates one to enjoy Sambhogarasa, the union. We know there are two mellows of conjugal love. One is Vipralamba, separation, and Sambhoga is union. So Sambhoga Rasa is very much enjoyed under the influence of Varuni. In fact, you will also see the pastime of Krishna and the gopis enjoying this kind of an intoxication in Krishnaika Kaumudi, if I'm not wrong, by Kavi Karnapuram. In the last chapter, there is a detailed description of these pastimes. Now, these pastimes are not the same as intoxication that happens in this material world. Similar, as we have discussed, that the relation between Krishna and gopis are not the same as the relation between a boy and a girl in this material world. The reason being that there are many, many reasons. Of course, it is Vishuddha Sattva. And also, the reason is also the same as we are discussing, that they are non-different from each other. Like, for example, if I catch my hand, if my right hand catches my left hand, there is no law in the world which can blame me. There is nobody who can say, oh, you've done wrong, right? Nobody can come and put a case on me. But if I use my hand to catch some other person's hand, then it can become a case of obstructing privacy, XYZ. It can become any case from that point. Why is that? What is the difference? When I'm catching my hand, it is factually my hand, it is not different. So there can be no impiety in that. Similarly, everything we know from Rupa Goswami in Updeshamrit, that Krishna, his energies, his devotees, his pastimes, all together form Krishna. So they are non-different. So Krishna enjoying with the gopis or Krishna interacting with one of its substances, which is honey, it does not contain any impiety. But herein lies a very important and very difficult point of discussion. Understanding when Krishna and his parts are acting as one and when they are acting as different is not logically understandable. So that is why it is said Krishna's pastimes cannot be understood very easily. This has to be understood Achintya Veda Veda. It is simultaneously one and different. Very difficult to understand. For example, a child sometimes sees mother and father as one. They both seem to be saying the same thing. Though you study, you don't go out there. They are absolutely in sync. The mother and father are absolutely in sync. In fact, they look like they are one entity. Right? What mother says, father says, father says, mother says. But an intelligent child knows when to approach the mother for what and when to approach the father for. Right? Sometimes the father is chastising, it goes, he or she runs to the mother and the mother consoles him. Sometimes he wants a game or an iPhone, approaches the father and talks very nicely, gets it. Right? So what is the secret? What is the code secret to understand when different, when non-different? How can it be understood? What is the code to understand? When to look at Krishna and as different and when to look at non-different? What is the code? What is the substance by which you can differentiate? So while it is achintya, it is not understandable. It can only be understood when you have the important emotion called love. Only by love, and that love is, and in that love, when you're doing service, which is called loving devotional service, or in other words, bhakti, can it be understood. Then only you can enter the Leela, and then you can understand what Radharani is wanting, Krishna is wanting, accordingly serve. Right? So that differentiation is only possible for the child when there is love. He knows at what point of love he should approach the mother, and what point of love he or she should approach the father. Right? If one is not in love, these distinctions cannot be understood. It cannot be from externally, a rule cannot be made of these distinctions. So this chapter is going to deal with this subject matter of simultaneously different and non-different. And that is why some of these pastimes can be very perplexing. So here what is happening, as you can see, is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is getting into the mood of Nityanand Prabhu or Balram, and he is wanting to enjoy Varuni, the wine. And here it is explained that Lord Gaurasundara is original personality and Balram is his expansion. So Balram's pastimes are included in him. So he's taking under the shelter of Sambhograsa, the union, and he wants to enjoy Varuni. Right? And he becomes absorbed in the mood of Baldev. And when he becomes absorbed in the mood of Baldev, then he loses the pastimes of the external world. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is here in the external world doing pastimes for a completely different reason. Those external reasons are now getting covered. And he is starting to remember the pastimes of Lord Baldev. So here it is already seen that Krishna and Balram are not different. and one is a shelter of the other. We'll go ahead. बाह्य पसारिया प्रभु करे हुंकारा उठोंगिया शिवा सेरा भले बारा बारा. Losing his external consciousness, the Lord roared loudly and repeatedly told Shivas, I will go in. Prabhu bale Srinivasa yei utangiya mana kare Srinivasa charane dariya. The Lord said, Oh Srivas, I am going in, but Srinivas grabbed his feet and forbade him from entering. Prabhu bale morai ki vidhi pratistheda tatapiha Srinivasa kareya nisheda. Lord said, am I also subjected to the rules and regulation? Nevertheless, Shiva stopped him. And Shiva's Pandita forbade Mahaprabhu from entering the tavern. Mahaprabhu told him that he was beyond the rules and regulations, so there is no need for setting an example to the world by stopping him from entering. So here we see that whatever the Lord does, there can be no impiety in it, right? And the Lord is not subjected to the rules and regulations of this world. So he is telling Srivas Thakur that why are you forbidding me? Am I also under these rules and regulations? Why are you stopping? So the next question arises, why is the Lord beyond the rules and regulations? What is the reason? Why is Lord, of course there is no many reasons, but why is Lord beyond the rules and regulations of this world? Why are there rules and regulations in this world in the first place?
They are meant so that we can follow them and we can go back home, back to Godhead.
Yes, meant so that we can follow them and go back home, back to Godhead. That is
But
correct.
Krishna is beyond those rules because he is transcendental.
Yeah, he is transcendental. He is already beyond. So these rules don't apply to him. Yes,
Yeah.
that is correct. Very nice.
And he is the supreme personality of Godhead, and he is present in each and every one of those things. So those rules, he is beyond those rules.
Yes, that's also very correct. He is present in each and every one of those things. So he is beyond these rules. Very important comment. I'll elaborate on that. Any other reflections?
Prabhuji says, Ajopi san avyayatma bhutana viswaropim. He says that he is beyond, he is not conditioned soul like us.
Jopi Sannavi Atman. So he is beyond these conditioned souls. What are these conditions? Very nice comment, Pranam. Very nice.
He's
Yes.
beyond everything, Prabhuji, but still he follows. Yata achati shrishthas.
Yes, that is also another part of it. He is beyond everything, but he follows. He follows to set an example. He follows to inspire others. He follows to show the path of Dharma. So here itself, there is this thing. So it's a very important thing to understand. When you say one is conditioned, the first thing when you say one is conditioned is the conditioned soul is under duality. Duality means it perceives that I am different from the Lord and the Lord is different from me. So because of that duality, then once you see that duality of I being different from the Lord, of course, we are quantitatively different from the Lord, qualitatively same as the Lord. But when you see that God is different, I am different, then I have to make my own enjoyment, my own resources, my own energy. Then he starts struggling, Bahir Mukha, because he wants to enjoy separately from the Lord. And Japatiya Maya Tarin, this is caught by Maya and he is in this world. And duality means then always everything there will be duality. Good, bad, light, dark. There will always be duality. So there are also rules. Do this, don't do this. You do this, you will go back home, back to Godhead. You do this, you will go into hell. Do this, don't do this. Do this, all this duality is always there. Because he's perceiving himself separate from the Lord and he wants to enjoy separately, there are these rules of duality. Do's and don'ts. Chant 16 rounds and avoid the follow 4 regulative principles, avoid all the unwanted things. So do and don't always will be there. But Krishna is non-dual. Everything is part and parcel of Krishna, as we are explaining. Devotee, devotional service, Bhagavad, everything is part and parcel of Krishna. Like I gave the example, if I catch this hand, part of me. So there is no impiety. So Krishna is beyond these dualities, so he is beyond these rules. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Srivas, am I part of these rules? Why are you stopping me? Why are you stopping me? I don't have to follow these rules. You don't have to stop me and show to this world, right? Because I am beyond these rules. Because he's in the mode of Balram. He's saying, and anyway, Balram now is behaving like an Avduta, but yeah, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing the mode of Balram. And he's saying, I am beyond this rule, right? But still, Srivas Thakur is catching his legs and stopping. So why is Srivas Thakur stopping when the Lord is beyond the rules? Why is Srivas Thakur stopping him? What is the reason? Srivas Thakur knows the Lord is omnipotent. He can do anything that he wants. Apta Kama, whatever he desires happens. So why is, and devotee means he serves the desire of the Lord. But why is he stopping?
Like Mataji said, he has to set the example. If he
Yes,
has the rules, he follows the rules. The one the creator first follows and shows by example.
yes. He follows and shows the route. And also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like Sumit Prabhu is very nicely pointing out, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come in the mode of a devotee. Right? It's come as the mode of a devotee. And here, now Srivas Thakur is going to give some reasons. Right? You can see 3 or 4 reasons that he's going to give. Srivasa Balaya, Tumi Jagatera, Pita Tumi Shaya, Karileva Ke Ararakshita. Srivasa said, you are the father of the universe. If you break the religious principles, who will protect? The first reason is you are a protector of religion. If you break, who will protect? Text 37. Na bunji tomara lila nindi be ye jana janme janme dukhe tara hai be marana. If one is unable to understand your pastimes, blasphemes you, he will suffer birth after. Now you are come here to deliver all the conditioned souls, but the conditioned souls are in duality. They won't understand your pastime and they will find fault. They will blaspheme. And when they blaspheme, they will suffer birth after birth. So your plan of retrieving all these conditioned souls will not be successful. Further, these conditioned souls, you are come here to spread the holy name, and if they blaspheme you, they will not be able to absorb it. And hence, again, the whole thing will become unsuccessful. Or what you really desire for this avatar, the purpose of this avatar will get defeated. And anyway, you don't want to cause suffering to your parts and parcels. If they blaspheme you, there will be suffering. Text 38. Nitya dharma mai tumi prabhu sanatana ye leela tumara buji bekha konat jana. Third reason you are giving. You are the eternal personification of religion, and you are the premier Lord. Who can understand your pastimes? Your pastimes are not easily understandable. They are explained by people who are pure devotees of Guru Tattva. They can really explain these pastimes. Otherwise, the conditioned soul can get very confused by looking at different pastimes of the Lord. As such, people are confused. They don't know why is Krishna marrying so many people. Krishna sometimes saying lies. Krishna sometimes stealing. They are unable to understand. And you are also personification of religion. And how can a personification of religion do something that is non-religious? Right? So your pastimes will become even more confusing and they will not be able to understand. Etitami uttaya giya madhya pera gare pravishta hainu muni gangara britare. Then Srivas Thakur says very important thing. If you enter this tavern, I will give up my life by entering Ganges. Because I cannot withstand people blaspheming you. Already People were speaking a lot of things when Sankirtana was started in the house. If somebody starts to blaspheme you, Narada Muni's heart is heart of a preacher. Srivastava, heart of a preacher. He was trying to deliver the conditioned souls. One thing he cannot see is the conditioned souls slipping further into the hellish regions. That he cannot see. So if you are going to enter and the people are going to blaspheme, then I am going to enter the Ganges. So these 3-4 reasons he is giving. First reason, he is saying that you are the maintainer of religion. If you break, who will protect? Then he's also saying that others will blaspheme and they will suffer. That's not what you want. Your pastimes are inconceivable, and this act will make them even further inconceivable. And finally, he says that I personally cannot withstand this. And if you enter this tavern, I will give up my life by entering the Ganges. And this is something now we are going to see a very, very interesting thing. Here, seemingly the devotee, pure devotee, is overriding the Lord. Krishna wants to do something, and the pure devotee is forbidding him from doing that. And there are many times Krishna has followed the wish of his pure devotee, right? Even though he wanted to do something else. There are many such instances. Can somebody tell me what are those instances? There are many, many such instances.
When Krishna wants to kill Bhishma Pitama, Arjun stopped him.
Yes, the same thing, very nice comparison. The same way Arjuna is holding on to the feet of Lord Krishna, and Krishna dragging his feet. He wanted to kill the wheel in his hand, wants to kill Bhishma, but Arjuna is saying no, he's forbidding. Krishna is, and as Srivastava is holding his legs, similarly Arjuna is holding almost very similar, very wonderful. And also many other pastimes.
Vishnu wants to destroy Durvasa Muni, but then he sent it back to Amrish, and Amrish pleaded for his life to Sudarshan.
Yes, he had sent his Sudarshan to chastise, but because of Ambarish Maharaj's desire, very nice pastime, where he was, Durvasa Muni was spared when he took shelter of Ambarish Maharaj. It's very nice. That's also very wonderful. And many such pastimes when Yashoda Maya used to chastise, Krishna wants to eat mud, Yashoda Maya chastises him. When some of the gopis prevent him from eating butter. There are many, many such pastimes where he wants to go and play. He wants to take the cows out, but he's forbidden. There are many, many times when he has abided by the desire of his pure devotee. And why is that happening? Why is he abiding by the desire of the pure devotee? You can see in text 40. Bhakti Rasankalpa Prabhu Natare Langana Hase Prabhu Shiva Sera Suniya Vachana. The Lord never breaks his devotee's resolution. On hearing Shiva's words, the Lord simply smiles. So the Lord, pure devotee's desire is one with the Lord, right? This is so much, the desire of the pure devotee and desire of the Lord is so much non-different. The Lord never transgresses the desire of his pure devotee. In fact, in another place in Srimad Bhagavatam, you will see that he says, here, I'll show you this. Able to see this? This is Srimad Bhagavatam 11.14.16. Nirapeksham munim shantam nirvairam samadarshanam anuvrajamyaham nityam puye yetiyam girirenubihi. With the dust of my devotees' lotus feet, I desire to purify the material worlds which are situated within me. Thus, I always follow the footsteps of my pure devotees who are free from all personal desire, wrapped in the thought of my pastimes, peaceful without any feelings of enmity, and of equal disposition everywhere. So here Lord Krishna is speaking to Uddhava and he's talking about different yogas, and he's saying that just, and Prabhupada writes in the purport, just as the devotees always follows the footsteps of Lord Krishna, similarly Lord Krishna, being a devotee of his devotees, follows the footsteps of his devotee. And not any devotee, a pure servitor of Lord is always meditating on the pastimes of the Lord, considering how to assist the Lord in his mission. And this is the mode you are seeing of Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur knows the mission of the Lord. The mission of the Lord is to deliver all the conditioned souls. He also knows the mission that these, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come as a devotee, and he is showing by his personal conduct how to follow devotional service. And hence, they understand the mission of the Lord, and in that way they serve. And that is why, even though Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to go into the tavern, here Srivas Thakur is forbidding. Right? Then, if you see here in the purport, Prabhupada even wonderfully right. Lord Krishna thought, I have established this strict rule that one can enjoy my transcendental bliss only through devotional service obtained from the dust of the lotus feet of my devotees. Since I also desire to experience my own bliss, I will observe the standard procedure and accept the dust of my devotees' feet. This is the resolution of Krishna. Right? The strict rule which is going to be shown in this pastime going further in this chapter with Devanand Pandit is, without getting the dust of the lotus feet of the devotee, you will not get devotional service or that love. You will always be bereft. You will come to the impersonal conclusion and try to merge with the Lord or think that you have become the Lord and so on and so forth. When you get the dust of the lotus feet of the devotee is when you can understand that is the pollen grains. We have discussed this many times in our previous classes. How does the dust of the lotus feet, by receiving the dust of the lotus feet of the devotees, you can get pure devotional service. Right? And this is obtained either as uchishta, either as the instruction, or as the actual dust. But then only you can get the devotional service. And here Krishna says, I also desire. But Madhvacharya points out a very important thing, that Srila Madhvacharya points out that Lord Krishna follows the footsteps of his devotees in order to purify them. You should not just understand that Krishna is taking the dust of his Lord. As the Lord walks along behind his pure devotees, the wind blows the dust of Lord's feet in front of his devotees, who then become purified by contact with such transcendental dust. One should not foolishly look for material logic in these transcendental pastimes of the Lord. It is simply a question of love between the Lord and his devotees. So who is purifying whom? It's a very intricate subject matter because they are non-different. The Lord is just behind the pure devotee, and the breeze that comes touches the feet of the Lord, and anybody who's standing in front of the devotee, it touches them and they become purified. But that agency comes through the pure devotee, and it's only by the mercy of the pure devotee those people can get purified. So is Lord purifying them? Is the pure devotee purifying them? It is Achintya. It cannot be differentiated. So, but the rule is that only by taking the dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotee can one get the love, one can get the devotional service. And that dust is coming from the lotus feet of the Lord himself. So this is a very wonderful thing in Srimad Bhagavatam, which illustrates the mood which is being shown here by Srivas Thakur. Now, the Lord and the Guru is not different. Lord and his devotee is not different. And devotional service, which is the love, because we have discussed this several times. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur writes this commentary and he discusses where does devotional service come from? Does it come from the Lord? He says, no. Then Lord becomes partial. He gives it to somebody. So no, it can't come from the Lord. Is it coming because of some karma? No, it can't come from karma because no karma can generate a transcendental result of, getting devotional service. That's not possible. So is it costless? Oh, of course it is costless, but Where does devotional service come from? Devotional service actually comes from a devotee who has devotional service in the heart. And that devotee can decide whom to give it, whom not to give it. Of course, they want to give it to everybody, but if somebody is envious of the Lord, then they don't give it. That is another thing which is illustrated. And going forward, you will see that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to give mercy even to those drunkards, even to those guys who are sinful in nature. He is going to give the mercy. But Devanand Pandit, who is reading Bhagavatam, he is not sinful, but he is envious. And he is he's done aparadh to the devotees. To him, he withholds the mercy until he actually serves the devotees and becomes purified. That devotional service in the mercy is withheld. So it is this intricate subject matter of Bhakti Bhakta Bhagavanta Guru, the Lord, devotional service, devotee, Bhagavatam, Guru are all this simultaneously one and simultaneously different. And understanding this, if one enters and serves the desire of his Guru, then he receives devotional service. That devotional service in the stage of Bhava and Prema reveals his sambandha with the Lord. And in that sambandha, when he starts serving, then the whole pastimes of Srimad Bhagavatam becomes manifest, because that is basically the dealings between the devotees and the Lord. And then the actual bliss, the Ananda, which is Radharani's Shakti, actually gets manifest in the heart. In fact, that gets manifest and then you get Bhava and Prema. So these are all intricately related, and that is what this chapter is going to show. We are in the middle part of the chapter where how Krishna is non-different from Lord Balram. We have seen that today. We have also seen that how Srivas Thakur, the pure devotee's desire, is not transgressed by the Lord. In fact, the desire of the pure devotee is same as the desire of the Lord. And we also saw the 4 reasons why Srivas Thakur forbids the Lord. He is the protector of religion. Those who blaspheme will suffer. His pastimes will become confusing. And Srivas Thakur himself cannot bear seeing this. And we'll also see as this goes forward that Krishna even delivers the sinful, but not the offenders. And only through the mercy or the dust of a lotus feet of a devotee can the mercy of Krishna be attained. So these are some of the things that we are going to see. We are seeing in this chapter, and going forward, you'll also see how Krishna is not different from Srimad Bhagavatam, and how devotional service is not different from the devotees, and how the mercy of devotees is what gives devotional service. And they are not different from the Lord. If you offend the devotee, the Lord is offended. If you please the devotee, the Lord is pleased. Nisya prasadat bhagavat prasad. So all these things, so very, very important chapter. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak on this very wonderful chapter. This is in fact the essence of bhakti. So this is very, very nice. Thank you very much. If I'll just pause here. If anybody has questions, comments, happy to discuss.
Thank you so
Hare
much,
Krishna.
Prabhuji, for such a beautiful class. Very grateful to you. Preeti Vilasni Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. Very, very interesting class. I was just thinking of 2 points that were covered in today's session. One is about how the mundane intoxicants of this world, they cover all our senses and put us in the mode of ignorance, while the intoxicant of the spiritual world makes our senses transcendental. I was thinking that's interesting. And the other point is the quote of Madhvacharya, how he says that actually when devotees, when Krishna says that he walks in the footsteps of the devotees, these lotus feet dust particles are the ones that are purifying the devotees actually. So that was also a very nice point to meditate on. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Very nice verses, very nicely covered. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, is there anybody having any more questions, realizations for today's class? Please go ahead. Your class is interactive, Prabhuji. While doing your class itself, you ask a lot of questions. There itself, we clarify all our doubts, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. I think Kirtida Mataji is speaking. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for this very nice class. Prabhu, I have only one question about the question that you asked, that whom to approach, whether Krishna or Srimati Radharani, and the devotee, they make distinction that, okay, this is going to be fulfilled by Krishna. Like you correlated with the a parent, like how child approaches sometimes a father and mother. Somehow I'm not able to relate with that, because approaching Radha and Krishna with some selfish motive, understanding that one is more magnanimous than others, so I should approach, like I'm not able to connect to that. If you can,
Yeah, very wonderful.
because love is for both, as
Yeah.
I gave the answer, love. So love is for both, because definitely there is no difference between Radha and Krishna.
Yes. So I think this is a very good question. Thank you for that. I was speaking on in the non-conditional platform. When one enters the Leela, they develop the mood of serving Radharani, taking the side of Radharani or taking the side of Krishna, or when to, when they are, and you will see this in all the pastimes illustrated, especially, for example, there are messenger gopis, messengers. They know when to deliver the message, they know when to take the message, when to give to whom, when not to give. All these intricacies are only known when you are part of the family. Anyone looking from outside will never be able to understand the Leela. And that's what I was trying to say. When the child, because part of the family and has love, understands when to approach the mother, when to take the side of the father, when to take the side of the mother. This is only known by somebody who's intimate and in there. So, and if you don't have that relationship of love, the pastime always looks very confusing. That is why we cannot understand the pastimes of Goloka. Why is certain gopis speaking in certain ways, certain gopis actually stopping Krishna from meeting Radharani at the certain times. In other times, they actually facilitate them to meet Radharani. So this is because they understand the intricacies of the Leela. As far as the conditioned soul is concerned, the conditioned soul is, like you very correctly pointed out, the conditioned soul's job is not to distinguish between Radha and Krishna, but the conditioned soul's job is to understand the mode and mission of their guru and unconditionally serve in that mode and mission. When that happens and the guru becomes pleased, then this love, the connection, the sambandha is established. He becomes part of the family. And then he or she, the person, the conditioned soul is able to understand the intricacies of whom to approach, when to approach, what to approach, and what to do. So you are very correct. These are not subject matters of conditioned soul to distinguish between when to approach Radharani. But even then, Prabhupada, for example, it sometimes He Nanda Suno Vishabhanu Sutta Yuta, very clearly the Acharya says that if you want to surrender, please approach Krishna when he is with Radharani. Because Radharani will be favorably be recommending you to Krishna. So even devotees, when they are practicing devotional service according to the instruction of Guru, they understand. For example, Guru also says, don't go and disturb Radha and Krishna, pray to Narsim Dev. This happened. So I think after establishing the deities, I think his Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj writes, they were walking with Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was very jubilant because the deities were established. And he said, I think it was Krishna Balaram deities in Vrindavan, that they were walking near Chatigara. And there Srila Prabhupada said he was very happy that the deities are established. And he said, if you have any trouble, please approach. He didn't say Radha Shamsa. He said, please approach Krishna Balram or Gaur-Nitai. And you say, dear sirs, I have such and such a problem, and they will take care of it. Right? So, conditioned souls follow the Acharya, follow their Guru, and approach, they don't distinguish. But the example I was giving is a son who is favorably, which means a non-conditioned soul, favorably inclined, can understand when to approach the mother, when to approach the father. Does that clarify?
Yes, Prabhuji, that completely makes sense, because when one is in Siddha Deha, yes, but definitely not in Sadhaka Deha, as you already rightly pointed out.
Correct.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for clarifying that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Any more questions? Please go ahead.
Pranam Prabhuji. Haribo. I don't have a question, but I have very nice sloks in Bhagavatam. Durvasa Muni Bhagavan Krishna says, Aham Bhakta Paradina. He
Yes.
says that I'm completely under the wish of my devotees. And he says, and Prabhupada Maharaj writes in the purport that, why? Why is this? Why is Lord Krishna? They say that because the devotees Anyabhilesata Sunyam. So such a beautiful context here that we have to become pure devotee in order that Bhagavan Krishna can be controlled. But we don't want to control him. Right? We want to always serve his devotees like Sri Prabhupada and then become Anyabhilisate Sunyam. That's our goal in this life. That's what I understand, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for a very beautiful class today.
Very wonderful. So that is, in fact, the most apt sloka. Aham Bhakta Paradina, Te Anyana Janati. So that is a perfect this thing. So Krishna is under the desires of the pure devotee. Very nice. And this also, if you read this chapter 11.14, in these discussions in verses before the one I read, this is, I think, between 10 to 16 verses. There he explains to Uddhava how the pure devotee is completely meditating on the pastimes, is almost in that sense one with the Lord. So whatever Lord Krishna desires, the heart is almost like one. Whatever Krishna desires, he desires. What he desires, Krishna desires. So, and in that state, they are traveling all over the world and preaching. So it is, yes, that is what we are trying to do. And the fact that going back home, back to God, it becomes an automatic thing when one understands the mode and mission of his guru and is then executing that in the material world. Then whether he's in Goloka, whether he's here, it's the same thing. And then Krishna takes care of when they need to get transferred to Goloka. In fact, I read this quote, I think somebody sent me, his own Indraji Maharaj was saying in this lecture, that once a devotee asked, I think Tanzania, wherever, yeah, Srila Prabhupada, that how do we go back home, back to Godhead? How do we plan to go back? And he said, don't even dare. Right? Don't even think of going. Don't even dare think of like that. He was very surprised. That's what we're trying to do. No. Said you just follow the footsteps and preach Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will take care of when to take you and not to take. So that is you are very correctly saying, Prabhuji, that we are trying to become purified in our desires and try and serve, and that is the ultimate goal. Very nicely said.
Very good. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay. If there are no more questions or realizations, we can end the call here. I would like to offer my obeisances to you and all the Vaishnavas assembled on the call, Prabhuji. Vancha kalpatarobhyasya kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Grace Achintya Gopesh Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you so much.